鉄砲の原野で舞い踊るしなやかなる野獣よ。漆黒の闇に潜む獣よ。紫の毒物蝶よ。月の引力により渦巻きて新たなる力と生まれ変わらん。融合召喚現れいでよ。鉄砲の原野の頂点に立って舞う百獣の王ルーンライトライオダンサー。
Alright everyone, welcome in. This is technically my second Master Duel video. The first one was the Generator Shadal deck. But I'm still trying to figure out, like, I can't really edit very well from getting the video from Twitch from streaming it, so I decided that I'm going to try doing it this way by using my phone. As most of you don't know, if you followed me for Teppen, I do most of my content creation, actually probably 95% of my content creation is just done on my phone. And that's from recording the videos and editing and all the stuff like that. Like, everything is done from my phone. But yeah, so today here's technically my real first deck guide or deck build for Master Duel, and that's going to be Tri-Brigade Lunalights. So for those of you that don't know, I do play YuGiOh offline too. I haven't played it in a while because my locals aren't very great, but I am a Lunalight player. I love Lunalights. They're probably my favorite archetype in the game. I love the artwork, I love the style of play, etc. I just love everything about Lunalights. But since I started playing Master Duel, I've really gotten into Tri-Brigade too, and how they can blend, the two engines can blend together very well, and that's where the kind of concept for this deck came out. One thing about the Tri-Brigade units though, is their ability is they can banish any number of Beast, Beast Warrior, and or Winged Beast monsters in your graveyard, and they special summon one Beast, Beast Warrior, Winged Beast Link monster from your extra deck with a link rating equal to the number banished. And then you could also use Beast, Beast Warrior, and Winged Beast monsters as link summon material the rest of the turn only. And then each one of the Tri-Brigade main units has another ability that attached along with it. So that's just an overview of Tri-Brigade. Lunalight themselves, they use the graveyard a lot as kind of like a second hand or a second deck. You can recycle, use tons of cards in the graveyard, and go through that. So basically you can go into big Xyz, you can go into their own fusions, and you can just so on and so forth and just keep going. And they also have pendulum monsters, which are, you know, give ridiculous pendulum effects that just keep Lunalights going and cycling through. So there's that. So we combined the two and we came up with this deck. So I'm going to go over the cards, and since we know what the Tri-Brigade units do, I'm only going to give their secondary effect. So here we go. So we run two Nervals. Nerval, he does have the regular Tri-Brigade effect, and then a secondary effect, if he's sent to the graveyard, you can add a Tri-Brigade monster from your deck to your hand. So you just have him as a draw engine to get what you need for the Tri-Brigade units. I run two Max C, and everybody knows what Max C does. If your opponent special summons a monster, or you could discard this at any time, and every time that turn your opponent special summons a monster, you get to draw a card. One Lunalight Black Sheep, and you discard this card, then activate one of the following effects. Add one Lunalight monster from the graveyard to your hand, except for Black Sheep, and add one Polymerization from your deck to your hand. There's no Polymerization in this deck, and you'll see why. So basically, he's just, if we want to cycle in a different card from our graveyard, we don't want, like, we want to use, like, Kaleido Chick or something, we can pull him back into our hand, or if one of our Pendulum monsters gets, like, actually, it wouldn't work that way. The Pendulum monsters can't, but any other, you know, Lunalight monster that was sent to the graveyard, you can pull them back to your hand this way. And if this card is sent to the graveyard as fusion material for a fusion summon, you could add to your hand one face-up Lunalight Pendulum monster from your extra deck, or one Lunalight monster from your graveyard except Black Sheep. So that way we can recycle things that are getting removed from the field, and keep our engines running. We only run Karis because we can draw into him using Nerval, or, you know, or using Fractal to get to Nerval to, you know, just get things moving. So Nerval's secondary ability is you can send a Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast from your hand to your graveyard to special summon them. So technically you're not summoning a normal summon, so you still have a normal summon on the board, and then you get Beast Warriors, Beast Monsters, or Winged Beast in the graveyard to then use Karis's ability to link summon, and so on and so forth. You could send a Lunalight to the graveyard to activate their graveyard effect, and so on and so forth. It's just really, really good. Again, I run them at 1, you can run them at 2. I just do it because we do have Nerval to be able to get him in a hand when we don't draw into him. And then we have Kit. And her ability is when she is sent to the graveyard, you can send one Tri-Brigade unit from your deck to your graveyard. So the combo would go something along the lines of you use Fractal's ability, then you send Kit to the graveyard, and then Kit sends Nerval to the graveyard, and then Nerval draws you into Karis, and then you use Karis's ability to special summon him, and then link summon, and then normal summon, and then link climb, and get the effects of all the link climbing. So yeah, you can go on for days with the combos in this deck. So the next one is Lunalight Tiger. It's the first pendulum monster. And once per turn, you're basically using for his pendulum effect. Once per turn, you can target one Lunalight monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but it cannot attack, and its effects are negated. Also, it's destroyed at the end phase. That's not going to matter because we're basically going to pull Lunalights out of the graveyard, use them as link material, Xyz material, or fusion material. They'll get back to the graveyard anyways, so you don't need them to attack. We're just using them as material. Then we run 3 Ash Blossom and the Joyous Spring. When a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, you can use this as a quick effect by discarding this from your hand and negate the effect, and that's add a card from the deck to the hand, special summon from the deck, which also includes special summoning from the extra deck, and send a card from the deck to the graveyard, and you can only use 1 Ash Blossom per turn. So we run that at 3, so basically we're running only technically 5 hand traps, so we're a little light on those. Then we're running Lunalight Kaleidocheck. And once per turn, you can send a Lunalight monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. The name of this face-up card on the field can be treated as that sent monster's name if it is used as fusion material. So this way, if you want to go straight into your Leo Dancer, if you have the ability to, you can have Kaleidocheck send Panther Dancer to the graveyard. Then use whatever way you're going to fusion summon and fusion summon Leo Dancer, by not even having to fusion summon Panther Dancer. And if this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can target 1 polymerization in your graveyard and add it to your hand. And you can only use that once per turn. And if this card is banished, you can activate the effect. This turn, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated during the battle phase. So if they have anything that can counter during the battle phase, or activate during battle phase, that just doesn't go off because of Kaleidocheck. So we run that at 3. We only run 1 Emerald Bird. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send 1 Lunalight card from your hand to your graveyard, and if you do, draw a card. And if the card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can target one of your level 4 or lower Lunalight monsters that is banished in your graveyard, except Emerald Bird, and special summon it in defense position, but its effects are negated, and you can only use that once per turn. So with that, we're sending you're basically sending your spells or trap cards, your Lunalight spells or trap cards to the graveyard because they have graveyard effects too. So, or you're sending something like Martine, because Martine, you can target 1 Lunalight card you control except Lunalight Yellow Martine and return it to hand. And if you do, special summon this card in defense position, but banish it when it leaves the field. And if this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add 1 Lunalight spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So, you basically you can cycle Martine to the graveyard, then special summon her, and then use her as fusion material, or, go through it. There's just endless combos with Lunalights. It's ridiculous. And one thing you'll learn is that Lunalight Tiger's ability is not a hard once per turn. It's once it's been placed in the pendulum zone, so you can use Martine to send it back to the hand, do your fusion or whatever, do your Xyz, do your link, put Tiger back on the field, and you can pull that unit back out of the graveyard back onto the field. So it's a nice little 1-2 combo there. The one that makes the Tri-Brigade unit engine go is Fractal, and his abilities, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard and send 1 level 3 or lower Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster from your deck to your graveyard. And then he has the regular abilities. If he's on the field, you can banish from your graveyard to link summon. But he just basically gets the engine running, and he could easily get you 3 Beast Warriors, or Winged Beasts in the graveyard, and then get you Karis in hand, and then Karis could use his ability to send someone to the graveyard, and then you already have 4 to link summon a link 4 monster. So And the last monster we run is Lunalight Wolf, and we're using him for his pendulum effect. You cannot pendulum summon monsters except Lunalight monsters, and this effect cannot be negated. Once per turn, you can fusion summon one Lunalight fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your field or your graveyard. So again, your graveyard becomes a second hand, and you can use it to fusion summon whatever you need to out of the Lunalight monsters you need. Basically, you're going for Leo Dancer because Leo Dancer is the best Lunalight fusion monster. But you could also go into Saber Dancer if you are out of Leo Dancers or you don't run Leo Dancer. So there's that. And I chose to add a little bit more back row than people use, just as some protection. So Raigeki, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Harpy's Feather Duster, destroy all spell or trap cards your opponent controls. And here's where we get into some Lunalight stuff. Lunalight Perfume, you target one Lunalight monster in the graveyard and you can special summon it. And once this is in your graveyard, and you could do this the same turn that you special summon something, you could banish this card from your graveyard and discard a card and add one Lunalight monster from your deck to your hand. And you could also discard another Lunalight trap card, or spell card, and then activate their abilities from the graveyard too. It's really, really fun. Nice little combo starter and nice way to pull what you need into hand. You can run Lunalight Fusion at 2. I only run it at 1 because we have Wolf. But Fusion summon one Lunalight Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. But if your opponent controls a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can also use Lunalight monsters in your deck or even in your extra deck as fusion material. So say you're going turn 2 and you draw into this and they like load the field with like Link monsters, Xyz monsters, whatever they're loading them with from the extra deck, you can just pop this card and you can summon Leo Dancer pretty much for free. Because you're not using any materials from your hand, you're using it all from your deck or your extra deck. Sorry, my allergies are kind of getting to me tonight, so just trying to get through it. And Lightning Storm. If you control no face-up cards, activate one of these effects. Destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls, or destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls, and you can only do it once per turn. I only run it at 1. I only use it like if I'm going second and I happen to draw into it. I could get, remove if they're running Eldritch, I can remove their whole back row, or things like that. So it's really just a utility card. 3 Fire Formation 10 key. When this card is activated, you could add one level 4 or lower Beast Warrior monster from your deck to your hand, and all Beast Warrior monsters you control gain 100 attack, and you can only activate one per turn. Again, I use as like a combo starter or a turn starter if I have it in hand, because if I have something like Fractal in hand already, I don't want to put Fractal down and then him get Ash Blossomed and then not be able to do anything. So I use Fire Formation as kind of like a protection, and I'll draw into a Lunalight monster, or I'll draw into like another Fractal, or if I need Fractal, I'll draw into him. It's just, basically it's like Lunalight Perfume. You're grabbing what you need from your deck to get going on your combo and into your play. We won 2 Called by the Grave, and you target one monster your opponent controls in the graveyard or your opponent's graveyard and banish it. If you do, until the end of the next turn, its effects are negated, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field monsters of the same original name. So this you can use to counter like Ash Blossom. If they use Ash Blossom or Max C, you can just go bam, Called by the Grave. They can't do anything. They can't, they can counter it with another negate, but you can negate their original intent unless they have another negate in hand. Tri-Brigade Revolt, I run this at 2. And it's special summon a number of Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monsters that are banished and or in your graveyard, but negate their effects. And then immediately after this effect resolves, you have to link summon one Tri-Brigade Link monster using those monsters, and you can only do that once per turn. So this is nice after you've used like one of your Tri-Brigade effects monsters Link summons, and you have all these, you banish 2 or 4 units in the banish zone. You can pop Tri-Brigade Revolt, bring them all back, and then use them as link material. They go back to the graveyard to have their effects go off again, or just be there to be brought back in by, other means. So it's really nice, and then you also get a big link monster on top of it. So Solemn Judgment, when a monster would be summoned or a spell or trap card is activated, pay half your LP and negate the summoner activation, and if you do, destroy the card. Just a nice little trap card to have. Then Solemn Strike, it's very similar, but it's a little bit not as good, but still good. When a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, pay 1500 LP and negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy the card. And the last thing we run is Lunalight Serenade Dance, and I literally don't use this as a trap, I use this as discard material. Because as a trap, it's not the greatest. It is good if you're playing a pure Lunalight deck, because you're going to have ways to super buff up your units and super debuff their units to go off for massive board kills. But on this one, I use it for during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard and send one card from your hand to your graveyard. If you do, special summon one Lunalight monster from your deck. So basically, this is like I use Perfume, and then I have to discard a card, and then I send this to the graveyard, and then it's still during my main phase, so then I could banish this and summon a Lunalight monster, and then I could banish Perfume and pull Lunalight monster into my hand, and then I have, pieces in play that I can start working with to fusion summon or Xyz or link summon. So that's the main deck. Excuse me, let's take a look at the extra deck. I run one Cat Dancer. I run one Cat Dancer, and it takes 2 Lunalight monsters, and it cannot be destroyed by battle. Once per turn during your main phase, you contribute one other Lunalight monster for the rest of this turn. The first time each monster your opponent controls would be destroyed by battle, it is not destroyed. Also, this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls twice each turn, and if this card declares an attack, you can inflict 100 damage to your opponent. So technically, if they have a board full of 6, and they're all lower than Cat Dancer's attack, or, they could even be 100 lower, but then you could attack them twice, you can inflict 200 damage just for attacking, and then the 100 damage off. Like, you could just burn people with this card. And again, I don't really use Cat Dancer, it's just in there just in case, like I'm out of resources, or I'm just starting off and I don't have enough resources yet, and I've been negated or blocked, and I can get into something to at least give me some sort of advantage. I run one Panther Dancer, and it takes a Cat Dancer and a Lunalight monster, and it must be fusion summoned, and it can not be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Once per turn during your main phase, you can activate this card's effect. For the rest of this turn, the first time each monster your opponent controls would be destroyed by battle, it is not destroyed. And also, this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls twice this turn. And if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, this card gains 200 attack until the end of the battle phase. And then, so we just keep bumping into monsters, doing burn damage, and destroying them on the second time, and then gaining attack. So, again, I don't really use Panther Dancer. I just use it as fusion material for Leo Dancer. I run one Saber Dancer, and again, this is if I've already burned my Leo Dancers and I can't get them back. And it must be fusion summoned, and it's from 3 Lunalight monsters, and it gains 200 attack for each Beast Warrior monster that is banished during the graveyard. And your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and during your main phase, except the turn that this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card, then target one fusion monster you control, and it gains 3000 attack until the end of this turn. And you can only use that once per turn, so you can pass that on to like Panther Dancer or Saber Dancer or even Leo Dancer, and just totally wreck house with it, because they'll be, you'll have Cat Dancer at 54, you'll have Panther Dancer at 58, and you'll have Leo Dancer at 65. So let's talk about Leo Dancer. You take a Panther Dancer and 2 Lunalight monsters, and your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and it also cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase, and once per turn at the end of the damage step. If this card attacked a monster, you can destroy all special summon monster your opponent controls. So this is like, it's kind of like Zeus, but not Zeus. So as long as you attacked a monster, you can then at the end of the battle phase or I guess at the end of the damage step, just wipe the board of special monsters, so link monsters, etc. As long as they don't have a counter card effect, or actually can't be targeted, so you could just swing in and then destroy the field. So we run Utopic Future, and Utopic Future is only to get into Utopic Draco Future, which you can do by You could fusion or Xe summon him by laying over the top of Utopic Future, and Utopic Future takes 2 Xyz monsters of the same rank to be able to summon. And again, I've never used him in game, I just have him in there as utility just in case. Like if the game's dragging on, I can get him out and then use him from there. And once per turn, when your opponent would activate a monster effect, you can detach a material from this card and negate the activation. And if the monster is on the field, you gain control of that monster. So again, I've never had to use him outside of the Bird Up deck, but you can still use him if you get to it. And how I get to him, if I need to, is I need 2 rank level 4s, or rank 4s I should say, so I use 39 Utopia, just because I had a Utopia, and you could use basically any 2 rank 4s. But I had Utopia, and Utopia is kind of utility because you can detach a material to negate an opponent's attack, so, and you could do it twice. So it's like a last second resort. Bam, he's going to swing in for game, you can negate the attack, or he's going to swing in to destroy a boss monster, you can negate the attack, things like that. Then there's Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King, and he takes 2 level 4 beast monsters, and you could detach, or when he's summoned, you could take a Fire Formation card from your deck and put it onto your spell trap zone, unactivate, or face down, so then you activate it next turn, you automatically got a Tenkai, you can automatically start drawing into cards that you need. And his other effect is you can detach 1 material from this card and negate all effects of all face-up effect monsters currently on the field except Beast Warriors until the end of your opponent's turn. So, basically you activate them, and then if your opponent's not playing a Beast Warrior deck, all their effect monsters are blank until the opponent's next turn. So, again, I use him just to get the Fire Formation, get a little bit of buff, and then depends on the situation, I may detach a material and then make sure that I only have Beast Wares, so their effects activate until the opponent's next turn, end of their turn, and then go from there. Then let's get into the Tri-Brigade. Fairjit, the Baron Blossom, and when she is during your main phase, you can special summon 1 level 4 lower beast, Beast Warrior, Winged Beast monster from your hand. Also, you cannot use monsters as link material for the rest of this turn except for Beast Warriors or Winged Beast, which is fine because that's all this deck is. So basically you could just link summoner, special summon, then use the material you brought out, or the monster you brought out, plus whichever most likely Karis on the field as 2 more link materials to then go into Shirag or into Access Code Talker. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can draw 1 card, then place 1 card from your hand onto the bottom of the deck, and you can only use that once per turn. So even if I know I'm not going to be able to grab that card, I still activate this effect, because it becomes a block, or it becomes part of the chain, so my opponent has to respond to this card, and they can't respond to the effect above that. So, and you'll see that sometimes in my games. The other Tri-Brigade link 2 I use is Bear Brum the Rampager, and you can discard 2 cards and target one of your banished level 4 or lower Beast Warriors, or Winged Beast monsters, and special summon it. And I don't use that effect very often unless I know I have like 2 of the Lunalight spells or traps in hand, or like a Martine in hand, and then I'm like, cool, I'll pull a banished monster onto the field. And then also, again, I use this ability as like a block. Even if I can't use it properly, or if I can use it properly, then I use it immediately. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Tri-Brigade spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and then place 1 card from your hand onto the bottom of the deck. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except for Tri-Brigade monsters, and you can only use that effect once per turn. So this would give me something like Tri-Brigade Revolt, put it on the field, and then next my opponent's turn happens, bam, I could activate Revolt, and then go into a special summon, and then use like Shirag's ability to start banishing cards. I run 1 Access Code Talker. It takes 2 effect monsters, and your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's effect activations. And if this is Link Summon, you could target 1 Link monster that was used as material for its Link Summon, and this card gains attack equal to the monster's Link rating times 1000. And you can banish 1 Link monster from your field or your graveyard, and destroy 1 card your opponent controls, and also for the rest of this turn you cannot banish monsters with the same attribute to activate the effects of Access Code Talker. So you can keep banishing link monsters, but if your link monsters are all the same attribute, you can only do it once. So, which unfortunately we only use it once anyways, which is fine with me. Just pop a card on the field. But you also want to select a link monster and then gain that at least 2,000 attack, unless you're using Shureg, and then it's 4,000 attack. And you could swing in for some huge damage. The last monster is Tri-Brigade Shureg, the Ominous Omen. And he takes 2 Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monsters. And if this card is special summoned, or if another Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster is special summoned to your field, you can banish 1 card on the field. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Beast, Beast, or Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand, whose level is less than or equal to the number of banished Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monsters, and you can only use that once per turn. Never really had to use a secondary effect in this deck, but the first one's very nice, because when you special summon from the graveyard, say using Tiger or Perfume or, Emerald Bird, things like that, it activates his abilities. It activates Shurig's abilities, and you can banish any card on the field. So I usually choose opponent's cards, just banish them off, monsters, things like that. A lot of utility there. Removing monsters up front is perfect, but something like Eldritch, I can remove the back row, or remove Eldritch himself, and then there we go. So that's the deck, you guys. It's a really fun deck. I think it's really underrated. I barely see anybody playing Lunalights. I barely see anything about Lunalights, so I wanted to bring them to you guys so you guys see that they're a fun little engine, and combined with another engine, they could be really, really devastating. So that's that. Let's take a look. I have 3 quick games I want to show you, and then that's it for this one. Thank you, guys. Let's go take a look at those games. Alright, so let's take a look at this first game. As you can see, I got a very good starting hand. And again, here's where I say I use Fire Formation to see if they have any hand traps, and they don't. So I pull a Martine because I know I'm going to use my Fractal unit my Fractal to get going, to move Kit, to move Nerval. Use Nerval to get Karis, and then from there I use Karis. I send Martine to the graveyard because I can pull her back anytime. I summon for Jit, I can't pronounce her name properly. I use Martine to send Kaleido Chick back to get her on the field. Then I summon Chick back, and I Xe summon into Tiger King. I use Tiger King's ability to give me another Fire Formation, and then I'll end my turn. There's nothing really else I can do the first turn. Now, if they had something like Raigeki or Lightning Storm, I'm pretty much screwed. But they don't have it. It looks like they're running a Rose Dragon deck. So I can see they're going through their Rose Dragons. And they pull out a Synchro Summon of Exploder Dragonwing. And his ability is he can pop a unit and then I get damaged for that unit's attack. They pop for G, but then I'm able to draw a card, and I send Kit back to my deck because I don't really need Kit. Activate Tri-Brigade Revolt to pull 2 back from the grave. And then I go into a little bit of Bear Brum. I use Nerval's ability again, combined with Kit's, and I'm using this to kind of block my opponent from activating effects to block. Again, I knew I wasn't going to get anything else but a Fractal back, but again, I'm trying to block their stuff from messing with Nerval. Activate Fire Formation again. I decide to pull Emerald Wing, or Emerald Bird I should say, and I banish straight into Shureg, and I remove Exploder Dragon, and I'm going to link summon again into Access Code, and I'm going to use Access Code's ability to hit Bear Brum to become a 4300, and then they decide they're going to surrender at that point as I was setting up for the kill. Just basically that turn was endgame for them. So that's this first game. Let's go take a look at the next one. Alright, so let's take a look at this next game. And on this one, I believe I'm going second. I am. I like going second with this deck, because I like banishing. So it looks like they're going straight into Eldritch, so I'm like, oh cool, this is going to be a stupid game. And they end their turn, and let's see what we can do from here. So I draw into Fire Formation, And again, I activate it. So, you know, hand traps, they're not using them. So I then use Fractal for Kit, for Nerval, to grab me Karis. And then I'm going to use Karis. I'm going to send Lunalight to the graveyard. And then I'm going to summon for Jeet. Then use it to summon Emerald Bird, special summon Emerald Bird, which basically I can discard and draw a card. Pull into Tiger. I put Tiger in the Pendulum Zone. He decides to activate a trap. Gets another free unit on the field. And then from there, I'm going to Link Summon. Straight into Shurag. And I'm going to use Jeet. I know I'm not going to get her ability, but I'm using it to block them from blocking the banish from Shurag. I banished the one Eldritch, and then I used Tiger to bring back Kaleido Chick, and I know they're not going to do anything, but I was trying to draw another trap, or another hand trap, and, you know, he waited on it and didn't do it. But then I just attack and remove that Eldritch, and I'm going to end my turn there. And he puts a trap on the field, so I'm like, okay, yeah. He's going to try to summon another Eldritch. But I have Solemn Strike, so I use Solemn Strike to block that Eldritch's ability. Which was then going to hit my Shurag. And then remove my Shurag so it doesn't work. He puts another card on the field. And here he comes with the Eldritch stuff, but I'm going to use Tri-Brigade Revolt because I don't like that he put down another trap, and I'm gonna pull out 4 from my Banish Zone in my graveyard, and then I'm gonna send everything to get me another Shurag, so that basically I can banish now at this point. But then Order of Activations takes effect, and he's gonna use it to pull the Eldritch to his hand and then special summon. So he puts it on the field, so then my choice becomes I could banish the Eldritch. And again, here using the Nerval to block any sort of thing that would hit Shurag's ability. I know I'm not going to get much for Nerval, but I use him anyways. And I use it to banish the second Eldritch, so he only has 1 Eldritch left in his deck. And I believe it's in the graveyard at this point. And here I use Tiger to bring back Emerald Bird, which then I can use to banish another card. Emerald Bird's ability doesn't activate. I know it doesn't. But I'm using it again to protect Shurag's ability. I banish the card he brought out. I'm going to use Nerval's effect. Or Fractal to get Nerval, to get Kit. Doesn't matter what I put down. I could have put down Fractal. And I decided I'm just going to battle phase at this point. Where I should have put down Fractal and then Xe summoned into either Utopia or into Fire or Tiger King. So, but using so as you can see, we have an okay board. We have 2 Shurags, and I can summon anything to then banish something if I need to. Using Tiger, and that's pretty much what we're gonna do here. And because he's Eldritch, so I'm very like upset in general because he's using Eldritch, so I'm just gonna try to load the board here. And so I saw him put down a trap, and good thing I banished it because it was torrential, and it would have just screwed up my whole game. And here's me using Wolf. And I'm just going to go into Saber Dancer on this one. I know I pretty much have game and I want big attack. As you can see, she's a 4100 now because of everything going on. And then I go into Bearbrum. And then using Bearbrum as material with my other 2 monsters I brought on the field, I go into Access Code. And I have this huge field for no reason. And this is just because I was pissed it's an Eldritch player and I get really mad at Eldritch. So again, using it to protect abilities, and then I use Access Code Talker. And I'm going to banish and destroy another trap card, and then I'm just going to swing in for game. So that's that one. And then we have one last game I want to go over with you guys, so let's go take a look at that one. Alright, so let's take a look at this game. It should be nice and quick on this one. It's only a 2-turn. And I don't have the greatest hand here, but I do have Fractal, which is nice. And again, this is me choosing to go second because I'm not a huge fan of going first with this deck. Even though you should probably go first. I just like going second. They just end their turn there. So, luckily I pull into fire formation because I didn't want to have Fractal get his ability blocked. And I can see that they're not either using our hand trap or running it, so then I use Fractal here, send Kit, use Kit to send Nerval, use Nerval to draw into Karis, and then I use Karis' ability to send a Martine to the graveyard, using Lunalight Tiger, and I'm going to only use 2 to get my Frigid out. To pull out Martine, I pull another Martine out using Tiger's ability, which then I will link summon into Shurag. I'll use Shurag's ability, and then I'm going to use Frigid's ability. And there goes the banished card. I now have an open field. I'm going to see how I'm going to use Martine's ability here. And then I'm going to put Tiger Chick back down. Or Tiger back down, not Tiger Chick. And pull out the second Martine from the graveyard. And then I'm going to Xe summon into my Tiger King. Then I'm going to put another fire formation down. Put down my Kaleido Chick. And then I'm going to basically just discard a card to the graveyard. From there to just block any non-Beast Warrior abilities. And we're going to swing in for game. So that's it. That's the deck, guys. Hopefully it's fun. Hopefully you guys try it out. If you do, let me know. And again, let me know what format you would like for Master Duel type videos. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm comfortable with. I like doing it this way, the way I do Teppen videos, but I also would be open to doing it any other way that would make sense for more of you guys and make shorter videos so you guys can understand and get through it faster. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for stopping in. Like, subscribe, comment. I'm trying to work on getting back consistently streaming. So, yeah, thank you guys again, and have a good night. Or day. Have a good one.